I've been a fan of Anno 1800 for a while, and lately I've been playing it even more because the announcement of Anno 117 coming out has got me a bit excited to be part of the franchise. All that being said, though, I've really simplified my gaming library in terms of what I play every day, just because I want to be mindful and engaged with a few things instead of being spread across a lot of different things, but not really invested in any one of them. So City Skylines 2 makes the cut. I like City Skylines 2. I enjoy Anno 1800, building up a empire in that game. Of course, Elder Scrolls Online. I enjoy Genshin Impact. Been playing some American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, some Flight Simulator, and that's kind of about it. I find that is enough, and I've got plenty of content in those games to keep me occupied for quite some time. Another thing I've realized as I've simplified my portfolio of games that I'm playing is that I can do a lot of other things while I play those games. I can listen to an audiobook. I can maybe make a video like this. I can just kind of be present in real life and do whatever else I want to do while I'm playing the game, because there's no pressure to, sit down and keep on playing for a long period of time. Potentially I will. I may spend a bunch of time in the game, but more often than not, if I feel like it, I could leave the game running in the background and just read a book for a while. It's really nice to have some of these games where you could actively play them. They make you think. They are engaging. They're fascinating games to play. But then by the same measure, you could almost treat them kind of like a screensaver and not really play them at all. Just sort of be present in the world, looking out at all the different things going on and watching as the city comes to life. Now, what I really wanted to talk about in this particular video is my build of a city in Anno 1800 that's a bit inspired by the real-life city of Seattle. And I was thinking about, why is it that Anno 1800 is so sticky to me? Why is it that I love the game so much? It's one of those all-time greats that even if I stop playing a lot of games, I'm going to continue playing Anno 1800. And it occurred to me that there was a time, now about 15 years ago, when I stepped off of a bus for the first time, downtown Seattle. And I'd been a poor peasant living on the east side of Tacoma until that time. And I just remember how amazing it felt. There were bankers and businessmen running around doing whatever it is that important people do in the city. There were towering skyscrapers and the smell of coffee in the air and sandwich shops and all of those things that make a city feel like a place that has a life of its own. It felt like a place of endless possibilities. I remember looking at the skyline and thinking, there's so many hundreds of different places where people are doing unknown things here in the city. And, I could find any number of things to do here. I could find any kind of work I could possibly want. I could build a life for myself here. And what made that even more special is that that's the vibe the city really had about it, because it's a trade city that was built on the back of people who were going up to Alaska looking for gold and opportunity. It was a place that smelled like fresh seafood and reeked of the pursuit of opportunity. And in all of those experiences, even if I didn't really have the experience, I felt like the experience was just waiting for me to find it. And I think in that way, it was very much reminiscent of an 1800s kind of an outlook, coming from a more rural environment, coming from a more poor environment, and going to a big city, which felt like it was laden with so much promise, so much opportunity. But then, in true form, sometimes those opportunities don't actually avail themselves. Sometimes, as much as you hope for new opportunities to come, the mundane realities of life also have a way of taking an anchor hold. And I thought about how Anno really captures the essence of that really optimistic interpretation of cities and of life and of society. And it was something that I had felt in real life as I spent countless hours exploring the city of Seattle. But then life kind of sometimes hits you like a truck. And so I got married and I got divorced and I left the city and I spent a few years living in the comparatively isolated Montana. And then there's a pandemic that came and went. And I spent some time trying to figure out how to make sense of it all, and went down a path of finding perhaps peace that I didn't have before, and adopting a more of a stoic, maybe Taoist approach to life. And I rekindled that long forgotten love of gaming, which kind of brings me to where I am today. Now, all of that being said, when I went to Seattle last, I thought, it just doesn't really quite feel like the same place it used to be. Pandemic took a toll. I used to work at the Macy store there, downtown Seattle, on the 6th floor, selling Swarovski crystals and kitchen appliances and stuff like that. The occasional luggage. Today, if you go downtown Seattle, the Macy's store is gone, along with a lot of other stores that used to be there when I worked there and spent a lot of time there a few years ago. I guess I'm just reminded in a melancholy way that you can go back to a place, but you can't go back to a time. And that's not to say that everything that happened before was all sunshine and rainbows or anything like that. But there certainly is a sense of optimism that I had and that I experienced in the city. And when I look over my life, it is something that I miss. And I think as I've played some of these games like Anno or even City Skylines, it brings to life those memories and that glass half full interpretation of life, that belief that anything is possible, and that even if things aren't quite the way you want them to be today, you're never very far away from seeing your fortunes turn around. And so now as I play these games and I think about new ones coming, I can't help but think I probably will continue to play Anno 1800 for quite some time. And it has nothing to do with the game and everything to do with the fact that it speaks to me on a personal level by perhaps capturing a little bit of that sense of life that I experienced in the past, in real life, in real places. But isn't that interesting, though? Because why do we take an interest in art in all of its living forms? Why do we take interest in games, in literature, in all of the things that add cultural value to our lives? Well, I guess we do take interest in all of those things because they bring a sense of enlightenment and hope and optimism to a mundane and sometimes dystopian world. In a world filled with endless scrolling feeds of AI generated slop and negativity and fear mongering and all of those things, we can still find a place where the best still lies ahead, where new horizons are still possible, where the most rational approach to life continues to be to believe that all things work together for good. And I'm reminded of that editorial in the New York Sun called "Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus." As the story goes, there was a child who had written in to the New York Sun and said, "Daddy says Santa Claus doesn't exist, and he'll only believe it if he sees it written in the New York Sun." And so she asked, "Does Santa Claus exist?" And the editor replied, "Of course, yes, Santa Claus does exist. As sure as love and kindness and generosity exist, Santa Claus does exist. What a dull world it would be if Santa Claus didn't exist. Indeed," he said, "Santa Claus will exist for tens of thousands of years to come, making glad the heart of children." And I suppose we are all, in a way, children inside, looking for things that will make glad the heart. Whether it's a game or a place, whether it's a virtual space or a real one, we should spend time remembering things that bring joy into our life and looking for opportunities to go places that reinvigorate our spirit and remind us that life should always be viewed not half empty, but half full. And even if sometimes it feels like we live in a dystopian world that is far from perfect, when you look at it through the right lens, there's a lot of loveliness to find in the world. That's true. We can't go back to the places where we used to be, at least spiritually. They will be different. The spaces will still remain, but the old experiences will be still in the past. And that's just part of how life works. But as long as we remember those things, they never really leave us. And I think that's really the message of the entire point I'm trying to make here. Life is meant to be something that we admire, like the Parthenon. It should be, even if it is sometimes in ruin, it should still be honored and remembered and beloved, because great things, even when they are in ruin, are still beautiful. So, cheers to great things, to great memories, to great experiences, real and virtual, wherever they find wherever they find us in life. I'm reminded again of that quote that I always like to end with: "Life has loveliness to sell, so buy it and never count the cost." Till next time, as always, thanks so much for watching.